Hey there, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video. My final thoughts on Dolph Lundgren. I actually was not planning on doing this, but had a person ask me if I was going to do this since I did one at the end of my Jean-Claude Van Damme movie marathon and my Steven Seagal movie marathon. So why not do it for Dolph? Because first off, I want to thank people for watching and commenting. Uh, Granted, I know a lot of people are not into it because they didn't get a lot of views, didn't get a lot of comments. But you know what? The fact that some people actually watched it and seemed to enjoy it, I've gotten a few comments that they liked it. I'm glad for that. I really am thankful for that. So thank you. The reason I wanted to do this, I like doing these marathons, is because I like to be different, do stuff outside the norm. And because, sadly, a lot of people are not going to do a Steven Seagal marathon, where they go through all of his films, or a Jean-Claude Van Damme marathon, or Stallone marathon, or in this case, a Dolph Lundgren marathon, a John Candy marathon, which I did. Maybe a few people, like Fabio, the Italian Stallion 51, he reviewed many of the Van Damme, Stallones, and Dolph films. Very great guy, Fabio, the Italian Stallion 51. Good friend, enjoys videos. By the way, if you're watching Fabio, I rewatch your Siphon Filter 1 and 2 videos, still very entertaining. Still hoping one day you'll do a Siphon Filter 3 and more video game playthroughs, because I really enjoy those. But he does movie reviews, updates. Right now he's doing his memories on Cartoon Network and the Disney Channel and other things of that nature. Again, the Italian Stallion 51, great guy. Not a lot of people are going to talk about Dolph, which is sad because, like I started at the beginning of this marathon, I do think Dolph is a very underrated action star. And unlike, say, Steven Seagal, he seems like a really good person, Dolph. Just a really decent human being. And when I did my review of Kindergarten Cop 2, there was a moment where I talked about Dolph was calming this other father down who might be abusing his kid. Instead of using violence, he used his words, and Dolph talked about what happened with his father. And then a very nice guy, the Flying Ninja 1, which, by the way, if you're watching, I do hope you make reviews again, because years ago he made martial art movie reviews. I hope he does it again if you're watching, because I really enjoyed your stuff. So here's to hoping you do it again, even because he's very knowledgeable on the action genre, martial arts genre. So it'd be really cool to see that. But he told me that when Dolph told that story, it was in reference to his own childhood. And there was a sort of a seminar where Dolph stood in front of a room and told his real life story. And then another nice guy, I Live It in One, sent me the video. And I watched the video, and Dolph, he had an abusive childhood. That's the thing. Like, people might not know that, but he had an abusive childhood. This is a guy who, his father would beat him up when he was 6, 7 years old, up until he was like 12 years old. And so Dolph, because of the abuse, would, by the time he was 12, smoking cigarettes, stealing motorcycles, drinking. His grades were falling down faster and faster, so his dad pretty much didn't want him. So he was abusing Dolph and then not wanting Dolph, so sent him off to the grandparents. And the grandparents actually treated Dolph well, so the grades went up. And because of that anger against his father, that helped him get into stuff like karate. But Dolph is also a very smart guy. He went to MIT for chemical engineering. And then he would have odd jobs like being a bouncer, working security, and then that led to him meeting Grace Jones, who was a singer. And Grace Jones, yes, I remember more for Conan the Destroyer, but she was a singer. And she looked at this guy and went, "Hey, you're going to be working security for my concerts." And then they became an item for a while. That's what led to Dolph being cast in a very small, non-speaking, blinking you miss your role in A View to a Kill, which I've reviewed, because I reviewed all the James Bond films on my channel. I have a playlist of those if you're interested. And if you go to the playlist part of my channel, there's a James Bond movie playlist where I reviewed all those films. And then Dolph said, "You know what? Let's try this acting thing." And that led him getting Rocky 4 and so on and so forth. So despite a lot of the crap that he's done in recent years, I'm not sure if it's true, but I heard one of the reasons was because he was going through this very lengthy divorce, and that's why he's been taking all these parts in these crappy films. But despite all that, I still enjoy the guy. I still respect the guy for what he's done. I respect him as a human being. Of the action stars, he's one of the few that seems like he has the least drama on movie sets. Like, it seems like a lot of people enjoyed their time working with Dolph, while Steve Zissou is quite the opposite. Almost every film he's been on, there's been drama and directors who hate his ass and Seagal changing shit and stuff. So, again, Dolph, good human being, and there's still quite a few of his films I enjoyed. Even in the later stuff, like when you compare it to Steven Seagal, at least with Dolph, I enjoyed direct action. I enjoyed command performance. I enjoyed Battle of the Damned and Skin Trade. Not so much with Seagal's direct-to-video crap. Not too many of those. I mean, there were a handful, but not too many. So I still give it to Dolph. But, you know, the past 5 years, Dolph has been quite a few pieces of crap. And I know I did not get to every single thing Dolph has done. I have reviewed The Expendables when I did my Sylvester Stallone marathon. So if you're wondering my thoughts on those, they are on the channel. I did not redo Universal Soldier, Day of Reckoning, and Regeneration because I already did those when I did my Jean-Claude Van Damme marathon. So those are still on the channel. And I added those to the Dolph Lundgren playlist. I updated that. So if you're interested, you can go to my Dolph Lundgren playlist or just type in my channel and you'll find my reviews for Day of Reckoning and Regeneration. I hate those two movies. If you want to know why, feel free to watch those videos. I did not watch stuff he did a cameo in, like Fat Slags, or he was in this. He was a big role in this film called Welcome to Willits, or Female Fight Club, which honestly I couldn't even find that to watch, so I didn't bother. Aquaman, I have no interest in. With all that said, Dolph Lundgren, I still enjoy the guy. I hope he, gives us a good film once again, but I'm not holding my breath because these guys are getting older. But overall, despite a lot of ranting at the last group of videos, I did enjoy my time watching the Dolph Lundgren films. I mean, I just quickly like to give my top 10 favorite Dolph Lundgren films. I'm not going to include Rocky 4 because everyone always talks about Rocky 4 to the point of as if Dolph has just done Rocky 4 and nothing else in his life. And that pisses me off because Dolph has done a lot of other great films. I love Rocky 4. I reviewed Rocky 4 at least twice. Once when I did my Stallone marathon, once for the Dolph. Love Rocky 4 to death. If I did put Rocky 4 in the top 10, it'd probably be number 2 or 3. But yeah, I want to talk about stuff that's just not Rocky 4. Like, Dolph did a lot of other movies too. So with that said, number 1, I'm going to put I Come in Peace. Love that film to death. I love the action. I love the mixture of sci-fi, horror, buddy cop. I love the toys of the villain. The spite that goes into people's brains. The CD that bounces off walls and people's necks. Kratos actually got a lot for the little budget he had. I like the score by Jan Hammer. I love I Come in Peace. Great movie. Number 2, I'm going to choose Universal Soldier. Just Dolph is fantastic in that. Are we having fun yet? So good night, asshole. I'm kicking ass. You kissing ass. I'm busting heads. This great villain is Sergeant Andrew Scott. He worked so well with Van Damme, who's the hero. I love Universal Soldier. My favorite Roland Emmerich movie. Number 3, The Punisher. Very underrated film. My favorite Punisher movie. It's the film to me that the Punisher does the most punishing. He's throwing knives into people's heads. You know, he shoots a whole room of fucking people before they pull out their swords. He's hand-to-hand combat, shotgun fun, pistol fun. He harpoons a guy, then even goes down the line where at the end a guy's harpooned. He's kicking the guy to his impalement, breaks that chick's neck. I mean, to me, it's the Punisher at his most violent and punishment galore. I love the Punisher. That's number 3. Number 4, Showdown Low Tokyo, very underrated film. Wish it had a special edition. Brandon Lee, may he rest in peace, he did great in it. Very fast-paced, slick, funny, action-packed. Love the banter between Dolph and Brandon Lee. Great movie. Great buddy cop film. Number 5, Men of War. Criminally underrated. I love the location it was shot at, the cinematography. Beautifully shot film. It does look like a film that would have gone to theaters and should have. The action scenes, very well done. I love Dolph with that big ass bazooka, just going to town on the bad guys. He has a great fight with the villain at the end in this cave, the tunnel. Welcome to hell. Great killing of the bad guy, but taking that piece of bone, put it right under the bad guy's chin and out of his eye. Good supporting cast. Really enjoyed Men of War. Number 6, Red Scorpion. Great flick. Spetsnaz. I mean, at the end, he goes to town with that big ass machine gun, shoots a fucking helicopter, blows up a big chunk of the fucking helicopter right in front of him. That's fucking badass. Fucking A. Red Scorpion to me is an 80s classic. Number 7, I don't put Skin Trade. I really enjoy Skin Trade. Watch it again. It's a good looking film. I like Dolph in the flick. I like Tony Jaa. It was cool to see Michael Jai White and Peter Weller in there. The fight scenes between Dolph and Tony Jaa Michael Jai White are well done. Ron Perlman, nice to see him there as the villain. This is a film that's underrated. Did not get the respect it deserved. It didn't get into really much of any theaters, especially not here in the U.S. No one ever talks about Skin Trade, but I think Skin Trade is a pretty damn good flick. So that's number 7. Number 8, Command Performance. Despite some issues where a little bit of the pacing could be a bit better, some of the supporting actors, like the villain, they're not that strong. Command Performance, you still got Dolph Lundgren kicking ass as a musician. Dying's easy. Rock and roll is hard. Fuck up bad guys with guitars and drumsticks. Still an entertaining time. So Command Performance, it's number 8. Number 9, Direct Action. Despite mediocre musical score, might not have mentioned that in the review. The very opening credit sequence kind of gives away the entire movie. It's like a montage of all the scenes you're going to see later. It's still a fun flick of just watching Dolph kick a lot of ass, take a lot of names, fisticuffs with guns, very straightforward plot. It's kind of like Force Vengeance with Chuck Norris, where I watch that film just to see a film where Chuck Norris beats the shit out of a lot of people. Direct Action is a film I sit down just to watch Dolph beat the shit out of a lot of people and kill a lot of people. It's kind of one of those simple pleasures in life. At number 10, The Defender. The first time he got to direct, and I think he did a pretty damn good job. It was a siege movie where bad guys are coming out of the woodwork and Dolph and his team take care of these guys. That was cool to see Dolph do. I definitely think it was more successful than, say, Second in Command with Jean-Claude Van Damme. That's one that I didn't hate it, but like Defender did that better. So to repeat, number 1 is I Come in Peace. Number 2 is Universal Soldier. Number 3 is The Punisher. Number 4 is Showdown Little Tokyo. 5 is Men of War. 6 Red Scorpion. 7 Skin Trade. 8 Command Performance. 9 Direct Action. 10 The Defender. But notable mentions goes to films like Sweepers, which I think is very underrated. Does not deserve the 3-point-something low rating. It has some good spectacle considering its low rating. Bad guy dies a wonderful death where Dolph throws his fucking mine that's like a big ninja star into the guy. Nice practical effect. The guy blows up and then the entire fucking bridge blows up practically. I like Sweeper. The Peacekeeper, notable mention of that one. Silent Trigger, The Russian Specialist. And, there's a couple more, but definitely those. Now, my 10 worst. Let's go backwards for this one. Number 10, I would put Larceny. Just a worthless waste of fucking space of a film, Larceny. Just Dolph and this lame-ass plot of these people robbing this prison. Barely anything fucking happens. It drags. Corbin Burnson is wasted in a nothing role. I just watched Major League for Corbin Burnson, or The Dentist. And Dolph doesn't really have much to do when you have Dolph in a prison movie kicking ass, and you don't really do that. It just lame plot, piss poor direction, it looked cheap. Larceny, I wouldn't be surprised if you find out later the film wasn't actually finished. It was just let go. But yeah. Number 9, Stash House. Dolph has nothing to do, just standing outside the house with pretty much a thumb up his ass, while this couple, led by Sean Ferris, is just waiting, and it's a boring home invasion movie. One of the most boring home invasion movies I've ever seen. A couple I didn't give a shit about. I didn't give a shit about Sean Ferris. And this other guy's doing all the work trying to get in while Dolph is just standing there and doing nothing until the third act. But Stash House, really fucking lame movie. Number 8, Universal Soldier Regeneration and Day of Reckoning. Again, I didn't review them for the Dolph Marathon. I reviewed them when I did the Van Damme Marathon. And while they have certain spurts of decent action, Regeneration, the scene where Van Damme's fucking up people with a knife, and that one scene that's like a little bit like Call of Duty where he's running and gunning, that's not to save the piss poor story. I love the Universal Soldier. I did not want the continuation to be, oh, Van Damme is sleeping while fucking monkeys are on TV and he's crying while sleeping and monkeys on the fucking TV. And then they grab him and they turn him into a zombie again. And then he just runs off to be Colonel Kurtz's Day of Reckoning. No, I'm sorry, that's not the story I wanted. That's why I like Universal Soldier: The Return. I like the story that at the end of Universal Soldier, he was slowly regaining his humanity to the point he tells a joke. So, continuation of that, he's even more human. And he had a kid. And fast-paced 80-minute action scene where Van Damme kicking ass, smiling, laughing, doing a lot of his own stuff, fighting Michael Jai White and Bill Goldberg, cool, fun soundtrack. I will never understand the hate for Universal Soldier: The Return. Is 80 minutes of Van Damme being the old Van Damme? One of the last times we see the old Van Damme. Smiling, laughing, kicking ass. I love Universal Soldier: The Return. If I did a list of top 10 underrated sequels, that would be on there. Because people consider one of the worst Van Damme films, one of the worst action films of its time, and I will never understand why. I never understood it. I reviewed that film when I did my Van Damme Marathon. I said it was underrated then. I will defend it now. This movie is more of a desecration to Universal Soldier, Oh, Van Damme's a fucking zombie. And then Day of Reckoning has enough fucking flashing lights that thankfully I'm not epileptic, but if I did, I'd be dead. Yeah, I'll give you Day of Reckoning. It has a couple brutal, cool action scenes. Either in that one shot or at the end where there's one shot there's no editing, he's fucking people up, or the little battle he has with Dolph. It's violent. But that doesn't save the film from a shitty storyline about fucking this cloning bullshit. I don't want fucking clones. This ain't the sixth day. And Dolph, like, how many times you gotta have clone Dolph's fucking character? If they did another one, what? You don't have 5 Dolphs and 5 Van Dams? And do a shitload of split screens? Be an action movie version of Multiplicity? Is that what's going to be? Multiplicity, the action movie. Fuck clones. Clones are not Universal Soldier. You got confused with the Sixth Day? Make you the wrong sci-fi movie? John Hyams. Sorry that you didn't have your father Peter Hyams' talent. As you can tell by the bullshit he made later, like Dragon Eyes, which is a lame piece of shit. But yeah, Day of Reckoning, Scott Adkins, oh, you find out he's a clone too, and Van Damme is a bad guy, but he's not really a bad guy, but no, he's really not, and then he's pretty much Colonel Curse from Apocalypse Now, ready for him to say the horror, and then they kill Van Damme's character off. I'm like, yeah, that's a great way for Van Damme's Lou Devil to go out, as a crazy Colonel Curse with shitty look to him, getting killed. Yeah, that's what I wanted from the ending of Universal Soldier from the 90s. Give me a fucking break. I hate those fucking movies. So yeah, they're in the top 10. For both Van Damme and Dolph, my top 10 worst. I just lumped it together. So that's number 8. Number 7, Agent Red. It's inept. It's a lot stock footage. The submarines are stock footage. Very boring, going through the same fucking rooms with pipes over and over again. You could tell shit was reshot because what the hell was his name? Stephen Mott. He appears at the beginning of the film, then he never shows up again. And then there's like one character that he thought was going to be the lead with Dolph, and then she disappears, and instead there's another fucking person there. Just a piss poorly directed, boring fucking film. Not a single action scene worth a fuck. Agent Red, just one of those low points of Dolph's career that year. Number 6, Legendary Tomb of the Dragon. Granted, it wasn't as much of an angry rant when I saw it. It was more of a defeated rant, because at that time I was watching other Dolph films and like, this isn't my kind of movie, Legendary Tomb of the Dragon's asshole. Might as well be. Dolph and Scott Adkins. Scott Adkins is a scientist. Dolph is a fucking hunter. There's no fight sequences. There's really not much of any action. It's a wannabe sci-fi channel film with a horrible CGI dragon that looks like the Gecko from the Geico commercials. So I hated that fucking movie. And yet it wasn't like a lot of huge ranting because it's one of those things I watch and I go, this just isn't for me. Let's really change. This just isn't for me. But yeah, worthless fucking film. Really is. Legendary Tomb of the Dragon. Number 5, In the Name of the King 2, is directed by Uwe Boll. Do I need to say anything else? Not really. Number 4, Dead Trigger. Yeah, I was triggered. If you saw that rant, you'll know. It's a Dolph versus zombie movie. And, Battle of the Damned has its issues, but it's still a fun movie. Here, it is so piss poorly directed. Dolph has his weird fucking hair in it. Looks like even the plot synopsis on IMDb is wrong. The plot synopsis on IMDb talks about, the government created this game for people to train. That's not in the movie. Maybe at the very, very end, last 10 seconds, but that's not what the movie's about. It's Dolph and his team get this random group of fucking teenagers and go, well, you're going to hunt zombies with us for some fucking reason. Just because. And it's random. It's like watching a film that does not know where it wants to go. Early on, there's these super zombies, and you think that's going to be an important part of the movie. Nope. They're in that one scene, they disappear. Most of the teens, they get killed early on, and then the ones left, they do absolutely nothing. They really are pointless. Even the lead teen guy, he does absolutely nothing. And Dolph and that one Russian guy from Predators, they get in this fight, and most of it's fucking doubles when it's far away. Some of the worst CGI you'll see in the longest time. It fucking tells you when Uwe Boll's House of the Dead is fucking better. How? Because House of the Dead actually had gore, practical gore. The zombies was actual practical zombies. Here, a lot of the zombies, man, this the makeup of the zombies in House of the Dead were better than here. And House of the Dead actually had gore when they got shot up. Here, it's all terrible CGI. I've seen people on YouTube do better fucking CGI. It's pathetic. And then this stupid twist ending where, oh, it was all part of a game. And then the lead kid and the kids, they stop playing the game. But then, narration. A couple weeks later, there was a zombie invasion. And then it cuts to Dolph on top of a fucking building. I'm like, wait a minute. That character is real, but he was just a character in the video game before the zombie. So what? They looked at this game and said, you're the actor who was in that video game. You be a zombie hunter. None of it makes any fucking sense. If you try to put two brain cells together, they fucking die of suicide. It's a suicide. Because they would rather do that than think about this fucking movie. See, I still get pissed about Dead Trigger. That's number 4. I mean, number 4. Number 3 is Shark Lake. Shit Lake. How do you fuck up Dolph Lundgren versus a killer shark? Let's barely have the shark, and let's have even less of Dolph Lundgren. If Dolph Lundgren was in that film for more than 10 minutes, I'd be surprised. I really would be. Maybe 15 minutes. And that's pushing it. It's more about this lady deputy who we don't give a fuck about. Shark barely is around. Fucking boring. Like, why don't you just have... Again, if someone comes up to me and goes, Dolph Lundgren versus a killer shark, that should be a win-win formula, and it's not. If you want to know why, just watch my rant on that. Number 2, The Last Warrior, also known as The Last Patrol. Directed by Sheldon Lettich. This is the guy that gave us Only the Strong with Martha Costas, which I like. Lionheart and Double Impact and The Order. 3 films of Van Damme that I love. And he did this movie with Dolph? What the fuck happened? It looks cheap. It's an apocalypse that happened, but you barely see any of the apocalypse. It's just a bunch of fucking desert. Dolph and a group of annoying fucking survivors pissing around, wondering what they're going to do. Somewhere nearby is a fucking prison where a prisoner's become teen for some reason, and his prisoners fight over piss to drink. And then there's this virus subplot, but then it feels like the virus is forgotten, so it's like, why is this even part of the movie? This virus thing. Because that's not how Armageddon happened. It happened because of this big earthquake. It's... which they used stock footage from other movies. I think one of them was Dante's Peak. But The Last Warrior, just... that's a fucking test of patience watching that film. If you watch The Last Warrior, watch that with the first movie on my worst list. Do a double feature of that and see how long you last. And the number 1 is still Retrograde. Just Gary Daniels in an absolutely nothing role. He's not the bad guy. He has no fight scenes with Dolph. He's just there. And then dies at the end. Boring, nonsensical plot of going back in time to stop this ship before this virus breaks out, or they get the cure, whatever the fuck they're trying to do. Cheap effects. shooting scenes is just. Again, I did try to Kentucky Kentucky Container. He did a video called Falling Dolph. This is when I reviewed the film the first time, and before those reviews disappeared for copyright. And I did a little thing by the door over there. But if you type in Falling Dolph, you'll probably find it. It's from Kentucky Container. It's still a fun video. Best thing to come out of this fucking movie. It was that video years ago. But Jesus, this fucking film. You know, I don't want to go on a whole rant. I already ranted on fucking film. If you want to know why, watch that video again. So again, top 10 worst. 1 is Retrograde, 2 The Last Warrior, 3 Shark Lake, 4 Dead Trigger, 5 In the Name of the Team 2, 6 Legendary Tomb of the Dragon, 7 Agent Red, 8 The Universal Soldier Regeneration / Day of Reckoning, 9 Stash House, and 10 Larceny. So, despite a lot of bullshit, once in a while this is a film I didn't mind. Kindergarten Cop 2, I actually didn't mind. I actually think I'd pick it up sometime on DVD. What was another film? The package I have with, not my, well, I got a package, but I'm talking about another package with him and Stone Cold Steve Austin. Didn't mind that film. Battle of the Damned, I enjoyed that film. So, the Skin Trade I enjoyed. Punch Your Wounds, not a good movie, but Dolph as an Aryan Brotherhood rapist and racist. Different role for Dolph. It was worth a watch just to see him. So, despite a lot of ranting, I'm still glad I did the marathon because I like doing different things. And not many people, like I said, are going to do a Dolph Lundgren marathon. So, which is a shame because, again, while a lot of his later stuff was bad, he did a lot of great stuff too. He's a really decent human being. So, still a fan, still enjoy him. And unlike a lot of these people, he never really had the A-star power to decide. Because, you know, Showdown Little Tokyo came out as like 100 streams. Fell away. Men of War didn't even get to theaters. Punisher, the company went belly up, so it went straight to video. Icon Peace, for some reason, did nothing. I don't know why. So, he had no power. At least compared to other people. Like Stallone. I'm talking about mainly like Stallone and Schwarzenegger. Where they're making, you know, $20 million per picture. But yeah. Respect the guy, respect what he went through to get to where they're at. But still, the last 5 years have been pretty shitty for films with Dolph, and I gotta admit that. And if I began this, I swear to end it here. When I began this marathon, I thought Kindergarten Cop 2 was going to be his worst movie, or one of his worst films. And the fact that I actually didn't mind the film, despite the lot of issues it has, to buy on DVD, just because I like seeing Dolph having fun, goes to show you, you never know what to expect. So thanks for watching. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.